So the world of gaming is on fire right now because a lot of gamers are starting to realize that there is a growing, deep-rooted disdain for white male gamers for some strange, odd reason, and this poisonous rhetoric has reached the very top of the executive chain, especially when it comes to Xbox, Microsoft. These people are disconnected from reality, disconnected from the opinions of gamers, and they feel that they can come out and say whatever they want, just like these other companies and news outlets who say that white male gamers are the problem. And the most recent incident being passed around on social media from Grums, The Quartering, and Ashley St. Clair is that the global head of marketing for Xbox, her name is Kelly, she came out and said some of the stupidest things you could possibly say about white male gamers. She said, raise your hand if you're not a white man and you buy video games. And then she says in parentheses, no hate to white dudes. It's just another day in the gaming industry that minorities have to fight to prove they exist. So painting white people in a negative light, white people, white male gamers, gatekeep minorities from making amazing games and being involved and included in games. By the way, her information is highly inaccurate and people called her out on this. Madam Savvy, she didn't like what Kelly had to say. She said, why did you feel the need to phrase the tweet like this? And I agree. Why did you have to do that? She said, why can't you just say, raise your hand if you like games? Are you aware the largest demographic of gamers is Asian, not white men? What fight is happening today? And it was comments like these, as well as the immense backlash she got in her comments. She was absolutely ratioed by people. That woke her up. But what she didn't expect was for her rhetoric to reach the ears of Elon Musk, because he had something to say as well. He said, it should not be acceptable for any company in the gaming industry to be racist and sexist against white guys, which Grums confirmed was in response to Kelly's tweet. So some of the biggest people on social media are beginning to take notice of this weird rhetoric against white male gamers. And I don't know why these people feel like they can just come out and say whatever they want and deal with zero negative consequences. They clearly don't pay attention because they keep doing this sort of thing. And if you guys have seen my previous videos, most of these people who come out and say these awful things, they go into hiding. They run and they protect their tweets and they hide from everybody calling them out because they know deep down that they're wrong and that they don't have a defense for their rhetoric when they're confronted about it. And that's why Grums says here, Microsoft Global Marketing Manager for Rare, Sea of Thieves. All right, so Sea of Thieves, one of my favorite games. She works for Rare. So right after Madam Savvy said that, she deleted the tweet, Kelly did. She deleted the tweet and said, I know the demographic information isn't accurate. I never said it was. Of course, because facts don't matter, as Grums says here. This is how they think facts don't matter to the narrative. She's just trying to spread some hate to white dudes for no reason at all, other than to cause division and hatred. Like, what in the world is going on? Why is it that these people in these prominent positions, okay, for the benefit of gamers, why are they coming out and saying such awful things about gamers? I don't understand this negative rhetoric. And it's so strange. And I've had people say that this kind of stuff isn't happening, but it clearly is. There is some kind of weird mission that these people have against white male gamers, and their information isn't even accurate. White males aren't even the biggest demographic. They're apparently Asian men. So she's wrong, and it clearly shows that she has a bias. As you can see here, they were right. She protected her tweets. Just like everybody else who has said such stupid things on social media, they go and protect their tweets and go into hiding. She's probably going to come out and gaslight later saying, I was the victim of harassment, got a bunch of death threats. And then she's going to go back into hiding after getting an exclusive interview from Alyssa Mercanti in a desperate attempt to save Kotaku. But it says right here, the Kelly is the global games marketing at Xbox, sometimes streamer, host, GT, Telosaurus Rex. And then what I find to be most fascinating is that Grums says she deleted her pinned tweet that celebrates her position at Rare Ltd. I truly wonder what is going on behind the scenes, but I can only imagine that she's getting a lot of flack for saying such silly things on the internet. Such a shame that these people who really hate certain demographics of gamers are working at such companies like Rare. A game like Sea of Thieves that I have enjoyed for many years with friends of mine, relatives, we've enjoyed playing that game. And people who promote these types of games and work with these companies that say these things, it really alienates people like me from these companies, because every time I play Sea of Thieves, I'm going to think, well, the person who's the marketing manager for this thing doesn't even like people like me. And this is a trend that I'm seeing spread across social media. Every single day, something like this pops up. Right here, you have the community manager at Compulsion Games, the studio that race swapped their main character after Sweet Baby involvement, says she hates gamers and says Asians are white adjacent. So right here, Asian and white, aka white adjacent. I'm happy and proud to announce that I've joined the amazing team at Compulsion Games as their new community manager. After spending 9+ years in the gaming space as a content creator, I'm excited to begin my journey and make an impact on the other side of the industry. Really interesting. And then she's like, honestly, I hate gamers. That was in February. That's insane. So Compulsion Games, this is actually one of the gaming studios that are connected with Sweet Baby Inc. directly, which is very interesting because Grumps goes on to bring out an exclusive to share with people, talking about how Microsoft Xbox mandates changes at studios, hires Sweet Baby Inc., erases white characters. I spoke to ex-devs at 2 different studios who say DEI is ruining and altering games and studio culture. Changes happened after Xbox meddling. So he goes on to say, I have reasonably confirmed that the devs I spoke to used to work at the studios in question, Avalanche Swede and Compulsion Games. Both studios are also listed on the Sweet Baby Inc. website. This is at the bottom. You can see this when you scroll all the way to the bottom of the Sweet Baby Inc. website. It's very easy to spot. And I remember mentioning these gaming studios when I was talking about Sweet Baby Inc. earlier on. Now, I can't confirm for sure if these 2 people that are talking to Grumps are legit, but he says that they are. So, of course, you'll have to rely on his word to determine if this is true or not. I'm sure more information about this will come out sooner or later. And then he says Microsoft made a splash at GDC, announcing their product inclusion guidelines for all their studios, which I also reported on. Such changes have been reported elsewhere as woke, including defeminization of female characters, and cite widely discredited studies as their basis. Microsoft claims they do not mandate these guidelines, but in fact, they make sweeping changes at the studios they publish and partner with. Well, let's take a look at what they said about it. It is important to note that the product inclusion framework is not meant to be a checklist or any sort of mandate of what makes an inclusive game. Rather, the resources and tools within the framework are designed to be a guide for developers to help enable them to make an intentional decision to either open or leave a door closed based on the game experience they're trying to create. The goal of bringing this level of intentionality into games is to expand player reach and deepen player engagement in a meaningful way that is going to look different based on different gaming experiences. So this framework was designed with that flexibility in mind, but the framework is still there and you are very strongly encouraging people to do it. And this is a reference to what I had reported on the other day. Microsoft cautions developers to avoid curvy female characters. And the way that they are pushing this so heavily and the way that they frame the framework, it suggests that this is way more of a mandate than just a set of guidelines because it's strongly encouraged. This is Xbox meddling with studios. They say that they're not mandating it, but they're basically breathing down these studios' necks, saying they are urging these gaming studios to do these sorts of things. So really, they kind of do mandate it, don't they? It says right here, GDC 2024, Xbox releases Gaming for Everyone product inclusion framework for game developers. The framework, which Xbox has been using and evolving since 2019, was years ago, provides a set of actionable resources to help game developers weave intentionality and inclusion into their products and games. But don't worry, there's actually a slew of information that he has gotten from these 2 people, making quite a number of very interesting allegations, ranging from the main character being swapped from white to black. It says right here, the main character of Hazel was swapped shortly after Sweet Baby Inc. involvement. Very interesting. It says these changes to the games at both studios and the culture changes at Contraband both happened after Microsoft and SBI involvement. The implication was that publishing money was pulling the strings, mandating studio changes in hiring of DEI staff and consultants, and altering the games. These changes do not seem to be organic, but the result of forced policies that come from the very top, powered by publishing influence and funding. And that wouldn't be surprising considering what these execs are saying about gamers. It would not surprise me at all. They clearly do not seem to have a problem with it. In fact, their policies demanded gaming studios don't make their females attractive. Just outright saying, don't make females attractive. Don't give them disproportionate body parts. Like, why? Microsoft's and Xbox's product inclusion guidelines are more mandatory than claimed. So let's go over some of these alleged changes. Hiring of a DEI director, hiring of a consulting firm to gender balance and review, hiring promotion policies, hiring of Sweet Baby Inc. to work on the published games. Both studios underwent these changes after Microsoft and SBI involvement. So these are some crazy revelations that he's getting from these 2 dudes. And I do believe it supports the idea that there's poisonous rhetoric being passed around all the way to the very top, this weird hatred for gamers. And it's only getting worse every single day. These people are just coming out of the woodwork. As I've been saying, they just come out of the woodwork seemingly from nowhere, to make all of these claims about white male gamers being poisoned for the gaming industry, saying that they're in the way and they're gatekeeping a whole bunch of minorities from making any kind of video games or having any kind of leg up in the industry. It's ridiculous. Make no mistake, these people are not on the right side. Okay, people like Elon Musk and Ashley St. Clair and the Quartering and all of these big names calling these people out, they're doing it for a reason. Discrimination is wrong. Racism is wrong. And being racist towards white people is a thing, and you're not supposed to do it, especially when you're the head of global marketing for Xbox, which is one of the biggest positions to have in the gaming industry. That is going to hurt Xbox's reputation through and through. It doesn't help that people from the very top and the very bottom are contributing to this hateful rhetoric, with community managers saying that they hate gamers and that Asians are just white adjacent people. It's just getting insane out there. And the more that these people talk, the more that we report on them. And the more that we report on them, the less that they have to say. But at the end of the day, these are the people who are working on our video games, and that needs to be stressed to gamers. Okay, these are the people in charge, and that's a problem, and I'm concerned about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't had the chance to like it and share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow, meow.